Hello, everybody of the internet and Dylan. This is Spanish 1. Spanish 1, alright? We'll start with greetings, and then we'll go over here to the verbs, and then we'll do some other stuff on the board. Okay, but first we'll start off with greetings, which will be buenos dias, which means good morning or good day. Buenos tardes, which means good afternoon. Buenos noches means good night, or kind of goodbye, I guess you could say if you want to say goodbye. And then there's also que pasa, which is like, what's up, dude? What's going on? Then there's hola, which of course is your main hello of the whole greetings. Then we're going to do goodbyes, which is adios, which means goodbye. Cuídate, which means take care. Hasta mañana, which means see you tomorrow. Hasta luego, which means see you later. Hasta más tarde, which means see you later, basically. Okay, and then we'll do some numbers, I guess, if you got that all down, like give them a whole quick glimpse. If you want to study those more, you can kind of just pause the video right there. And so then we'll go on to the numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, sorry, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then there's 10, which you add to every one of those from 6 up. So it's 16, 17, 18, 19, and then there's 20 overall, which is 20. Okay, give them a good look of it, and y'all can pause it when y'all want to study in one of those regions, you know. Alright. Then we're going to go on to verbs, which verbs are a huge part in any language. Verbs, you have to know verbs, okay, because they're just big. And Spanish verbs are kind of easy. They're easier. They're not as easy as English verbs, I would say, but they're okay. So there's ser, which is ser and estar are big verbs, which means to be. Okay, there's kind of two different meanings to these. Ser is more of a long-term being, like I would say, I am Samuel, okay? While estar would be like, you're living in Cuba right now, and you'll be back in the United States, you know, in 2 months. It's more of a short term, and ser is more of a long term. So all those verbs, I will do a special lesson on verbs, like on their conjugation and everything later on, with my friend. Then there's hablar, which means to speak. There's leer, which means to read. Escuchar, which is to listen. Estudiar, which means to study, which you do in school every day. Escribir, which is to write. Comer, which is to eat. And beber, which is to drink. Okay, those are the verbs. Give them a good glance at the verbs. I mean, you can always look them up without the video, but I'll upload the video right after.
Those are the main verbs anyway.
Yeah, those are the main verbs you should know. There is some other main verbs you should know along with these, but these are just the ones we had to fit on the board, which we thought were main. Alright, next is prepositions. Prepositions are kind of like building blocks on the forming of a sentence, kind of. There is el, which means the in like a masculine form. There is la, which is a feminine in like the, like if you're talking like the cat, and you know it's a female cat, you would say la. If it's a male cat, you say el gato. Then there's also the plural forms. If you're saying the cats, there's also there's las and los, which are the plurals. Las is the plural of la, and los is the plural of el.
And el means the same, don't it?
El, they both kind of mean the same. Uno and una, which is a or some, and it just depends on what you're talking about. Like a cat, of course, the female cat, and a male cat, and female, or male, female. There's also quién. Quién is who. It's pretty straightforward. There's also que. Que is just simple right now. We'll get into que later on, like way later on maybe. And then there's also cuando. Cuando means when something is going to happen. And there's also all the forms of a person. There's yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, which is exclusively used in Spain. Ellos, ellas, ustedes. I, you, he, she, you, in more of a like say if you're talking to your boss or your grandmother.
Familiar way.
It's like if
Familiar.
it's a formal way. Let's say formal,
And
which you're talking to your grandma or your dad if you want to be respectful. Then there's nosotros, which is we, like us, kind of. Vosotros, exclusively used in Spain, which means you, basically. Ellos, they. Ellas, they, like them.
But only girls.
Ellos, like say if you have a bunch of like men and you say ellos and a bunch of ladies, but there's a difference in the two of the masculinity. If there's one man in a group of women, you would use ellos. If there's no men, then you use ellas. So it's not the other way around either. If there's one woman in a group of men, it's still ellos. And then there's ustedes, which means you all. Like we text and say, y'all, so that we combine it. So that's basically everything you need to know right now. We'll upload a second part here pretty soon, so just stay tuned to that. I am Senor Samuel, and I am signing off.
Good luck, Dylan.